Hi folks, my name's Deepak Shukla and welcome to my Unacademy YouTube course, How to Get a Place at Oxford, Cambridge and other top European universities. If you're looking to prepare for examinations and take courses for any number of topics, head to unacademy.com, India's largest learning platform, and stay tuned for this course to make sure that you get into the top university. Brought to you by Deepak Shukla and Unacademy. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to part 7 of how to write a personal statement for Oxford and Cambridge. Now, in part 6, you did see that I was in the middle of writing a personal statement in a rather laboured fashion, simply because I was thinking about details that pertain to myself 12 years ago. So what we're going to continue with that is, and what we're going to cover, and this is very simple, live personal statement writing. I want to take you through the process in which we could very relatively quickly, for the interest of your viewing, put together a rough personal statement. So what I've gone and done, if we head over to here, is this was the draft that we were working on previously, and if I go ahead and open up file, open recent, let's see if I've still got it here, how to get into, this is part 7, it'll be part 5 in fact actually. Yeah, so here we go, writing a personal statement together, personal statement guide here. Cool. So if I go ahead and open up, well, let me close some windows first of all, open this up. This is what we were working on previously, okay? These were the questions as you saw, and these are the kind of answers that I was putting together. And what I've done is I've simply filled out, a list of bullet points that are in some way relevant, okay, to these questions. Why are you applying for the chosen course? Why does this subject interest you? Why do you think you're suitable for the course? And do your current or previous studies relate to the course you've chosen? Have you taken part in any other activities that demonstrate your interest in the course? And then looking at skills and achievements which I've added, as well as work experience and future plans. So what I do then is, on the basis of having completed some rough bullet points that we put together that will form the very simple core ideas that we want to include, we'll go ahead and create a new document just here. And for now we can kind of disregard this. We've got what we wanted to achieve from this, which is getting all the questions down into a document which we can then use, because this document is what we're going to use to share over everybody. So I'll call this personal statement version 1. Let's just call it personal statement version 1. Okay, so we'll go ahead and split screens up. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at some of these questions here, as you can see, and we're going to see if we can start beginning to put together an actual personal statement. So the first element is, why are you applying for your chosen course? So let us think about this. So that'd be English literature. In this example, English literature has always been a passion for me for as long as I can remember. Having grown up reading lots of fantasy fiction from Rushdie to Tolkien, I'm excited at the prospect of learning more of, and this is where we look at learning more the classic authors such as Virgil and Homer. So Virgil and Homer relates to Greek and, well, it's not medieval, but Greek and medieval literature. So we put, because remember, where we got these elements from was from the actual course content itself. It discussed medieval literature. So we put famous medieval authors. So look at famous medieval authors and let's see what comes up. So we've got Chaucer. Okay, so there we go. So let's put Chaucer and Dante, and more classic authors such as Virgil, Homer, Chaucer, and Dante. So again, this is, remember, we're building what we're building at the moment is a rough draft on the basis of the ideas that we put down on you can't see my hands, but on this side here, and we're going to turn that into basically the rough elements of a personal statement. So, English literature, remember, having grown up reading Tolkien and the prospect of learning more of classic authors such as Virgil, Homer, Chaucer, and Dante. So, why are you applying for the chosen course? That's the question that we're asking. Studying these authors at a degree level will allow me to enhance my critical thinking when discussing, analyzing the. And now what we'll do now is we'll look at, for example, famous texts. Homer. We'll have a look at what comes up. Homer, semi-legendary author, Homer biography and works. Let's have a look at his biography and works. Let's close that. Let's have a look at Homer. So he wrote the Iliad, as we can see there, history in the Iliad. So then we'll go straight to the Iliad. That's Iliad spelt wrong, but I think Google will correct it for me. We'll go on here, Homer. We'll now switch this over here, and we'll have a look at, unless you're a student of ancient Greek or Homeric scholar, rely on others, translation of Iliad. To enhance my level of critical thinking, I'm analysing the various translations of the Iliad, and there. I'm going to quickly close some windows again now, because my laptop is again getting excited. I don't know why. Apologise, this does happen from time to time. See how many, so we've got these two up. So I'm going to talk a little bit louder for purposes of this. So as you can see, and when analysing the various translations of the Iliad and their implications and its implications for our understanding of the text. So the reason that I'm going quite deep here is because you need to display, I think, quite an advanced knowledge of the characters and references that you make. Now, of course, as it was discussed there, I am familiar with some of these concepts. Some of them do need some work, as you can see from the Googling that I'm doing. But the underlying point was remember, don't oversell, or in the instance that you do wish to oversell, oh, there you go, fantastic. In the instance that you do wish to oversell, then make sure that you do your reading to back up some of the content that you do write in the actual personal statement itself. So because you will be interviewed and you will be tested under pressure when you go to Oxbridge, and that is a notable difference between writing a personal statement for institutions that are the best in the world versus writing for some of the secondary ranked universities, simply because you won't be tested face to face. They'll accept you on the basis of just your application, which isn't the case at a university such as Oxford and Cambridge. So if we carry on, let's have a look. So studying these authors at degree level will allow me to enhance my critical thinking when analysing various translations of the Iliad and its implications for our understanding of the text. Furthermore, I wish to... Now, Chaucer. Let's have a look at Chaucer. Chaucer, let's read the devices. Father of English literature, English poet. Grasp a greater appreciation for, and this is the Canterbury Tales all about. Canterbury Tales is Geoffrey Chaucer's most famous piece of work. Grasp appreciation of the story of the 30 people travelling as pilgrims to Canterbury. Cool. So you're beginning to get some insight into how you can begin to really draft a personal statement based upon the ideas that you put here. So this will answer, ultimately, that question here, which is why you're applying for the chosen course. So we put we put some answers here, as you can see. Why I'm applying for the chosen course is on the basis of, and let's close this also. We don't need that. That's gone as well. If there's anything else that we can close, we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of the that. We don't need that anymore, and we're back. Okay, cool. So as you can begin to see, I'm beginning to really build out. Let's swing this over here. Some answers for why you're applying to this chosen course, and this is what we enter. Ultimately, in some respects, this is version 1. This is version 2. So what I'm going to do, and this is where I do implore that you can either choose to skip forward with this video to kind of flick through to the relevant parts and keep watching them, or you can work with me to see my thought process behind putting all of the other parts together. So why does this subject interest me? We can put long term. No. So why does subject interest you? So what I put is having being asked to sit my English GCSEs at 14, and that's the UK qualification, rather than 16 years old. I've always displayed a particular natural ability with. It's important not to be arrogant. Arrogant isn't something that's really arrogant. Some people perceive it as just being confident and forthright. Some people could say, saying that I've displayed a particular or massive ability. I wouldn't use the word massive. I wouldn't use the word impressive. I wouldn't use the word precocious. I'm just saying a particular natural, because it's the English way to kind of minimize and reduce things. I've always displayed a particular natural ability with English literature, especially being tasked to read Great Expectations and Shakespearean texts as an 11-year-old because of my advanced reading age. There you go. That's how you spell that correctly. So, having been asked to sit my English GCSEs at 14 rather than 16, I've always displayed a particular. I've always displayed a particular natural ability of English literature, especially as I was. And as you can see, I'm reading it back to myself to grasp some more of the comprehension and what's involved in actually putting this together. So having been asked to sit my English GCSE at 14 rather than 16 years old, I've always displayed a particular natural ability of English literature, especially as I was tasked to read Great Expectations, Shakespearean texts as an 11-year-old because of my advanced reading age. So that's cool. Furthermore, the adventures that the central figures such as Frodo in Lord of the Rings and Pippin in Great Expectations have always fascinated me since first reading, and I relish the prospect of gaining further insights into the journeys of such characters. I see the world through words rather than pictures, and studying English literature will give me the necessary skills to elevate my sight even further. So what I've done there is I've created a little bit of a play on words. I see the world, and to elevate my sight even further. Now again, remember, this is the first draft, that version 2, if you like. Let's call this personal statement version 1. Let's call that one. Personal statement version 2, and I'll give you access to copies of these so you can go ahead and look through it. So that's the next part. So why do I think I'm suitable for the course? So this is obviously a great question. So I having studied history, and this is all true, history, psychology, and philosophy alongside literature for my A levels. I have found there to be huge crossover in the kinds of critical and essay writing skills required for both. And I will stop at this point, and I'll just tell you that but hold on, sorry, both of for this degree. Pivotal on this will prove to be pivotal on a literary degree. So what I was going to say is that it's really worth mentioning that I have been doing this for several years. I've helped students write over 100 personal statements, MBA applications, PhD applications, job applications, CVs, resumes. So there is that advantage to obviously the way that I develop and create these. Of course, you may not even be impressed by any of this, and if in that case, if you aren't, I'm happy, because it means that you can do even better than I've done. But this process that we're following now, from looking at the actual structure that comes from UCAS to building it into potential answers, serves as a huge reference point. And the reason that part of this took me a little bit longer was because typically this requires some thinking to think about, what is it, why are you choosing, and to come up with all of the reasons for why you might be suitable for this course, why it interests you. And do take your time to think about all of those elements, because it really is worth putting together data-driven and real tangible reasons for why you think that why you think that you are appropriate for this course, why the subject interests you, why you think you're suitable about the course itself, and all of the other questions that surround it. So do keep all of that in mind. So let's keep going. So what I've also written is identify, in kinds of essay and critical thinking required for all of these courses. It'll prove to be huge a degree course. Furthermore, so what we can also add here, so we've already added that in the first section. Furthermore, I feel that I will have keen insights into the language. Okay. Indian from a migrant family. Yeah, I think it is the epic war poem. Okay, perfect. So we'll go there. So we've got the fan going a bit crazy again. Apologies, but okay, cool. So tree. Further, I thought that I keen insights into language by okay, so what I think I'm suitable for the course, to a degree that's been answered. Let's move on to do your current studies read for this course. So in particular, I feel that my exploration of the world of the Great Wall literature as taught by history course alongside the critical thinkers of the Greek ages. Psychology. What do we do in psychology? Let me think. I'm thinking about, how they could help me at the courses. So alongside understanding so the Stanford prison experiment. Alongside all the issues, psychology, interpretation of classic literature. Okay, perfect. So we put do your current course you've chosen. So of course this is a more of a longer-winded question answer. I've put this answer. We may ultimately end up getting rid of that, but now we're beginning, as you can see, to build up the answers to these questions. So now we're moving on to skills and achievements, and what this means is what else is that so this is where we change it around a bit, because I want to now focus on, if you know what you'd like to do after completing the course, explain how you want to use the knowledge experience that you gain. So we'll put that next to keep it very kind of course focused, if you will. Right, so what we'll do now is say that and it will take some time to think about these, this is why we paused the video and I went away and thought about it some more. With ambitions to ultimately become a journalist in the political arena, let's have a say. That's not, but I was thinking that, yeah, journalist in the political arena, as well as an author in my own right. The skills, the knowledge and experience that studying at your university will give me will be second to none. Let's keep going. Will be second to none. Focus on interpretation as to the facts, we find in the poetry and prose very, in many respects, matches jargon that populates politics. I wish to write about this all. Okay, so I may have gone slightly off track there. There's a potential there. And so I've got that answer done now, as you can see. And I will now have a look at the final question, which is list skills here. So what if, okay, so this, we're gonna, there's quite a lot of text here. Universities like to do the skills that will help you on this, that will help you on the course of journey of life at university. Include achievements you're proud of, that you've held both in and out of school, and attributes to make you interesting, special, or unique. So what we'll do is, and then we've got obviously work experience here, and what we'll do, furthermore, so no, what we'll do is we'll put work experience plus relevant work, and I'm modifying the question here. What I'm doing is I'm modifying the question to basically summarize what I think will ultimately be the key points. If we have a look at tools and we go to word count, we'll see we're at characters 2,400 and 3,000 including spaces. We've got another 1,000 words, so we've got and we've got some more wiggle room, of course, because we've got some of these titles that will be removed. So we're probably at 2,800 characters. So it'll be relevant work experience plus unique things you have done. So we'll start with work experience and have a look at what is it that, well no, we'll start interesting experiences outside. So we'll put, for example, and you can see this is the list I've got here on the left. You may have stopped and looked at some point, but these are things that I'd done when I was 18 years old, and I will take you through, how we can put this together. Outside of my direct academic experience, I have also been a rapper that followed successful recording group with a music video that is in the process of submitted to. So in the, okay, so let me pause here and say that in this section where we're discussing skills and achievements, it really is important that you really think about all of the things that you've done. The more the better. I hope that there are things that you've done. If you're struggling with this, then please do leave a comment below, and I can of course add additional videos that relate to some of these areas. And in the interest of time, I'm going to just go through and write out an answer based on the things that I've kind of done historically and that I can add here. So outside of my data, so I've always been around parts, so switch to television. The writing of rap lyrics alongside the group and solo recording of over 15 songs. And this was, don't forget, back in 2000 and 2005, 2004, 2003, 2004. So it's a fair while ago. Have taught me much about rhythm, or let Google correct that for us. Rhythm, rhyme, and remember, in the first kind of cycle, in this cycle, don't worry about the obvious spelling of mistakes. Obviously change, but there'll be subtle ones. We'll go through that at the end. Taught me much about rhythm, rhyme, and melody, of which will prove very useful at university. The music fiction team that had also worked on the set of Harry Potter and storyboarding and developing a creative structure will prove useful in creative writing that I do. So now let's have a look at the actual word count. We've got up to 3,500, 3,600 almost. We've still got a couple of hundred more words. We've added the recording, we've added the storyboarding. We can also add as a along. So as you can see, we've got this element for the actual outside activities, but we're still relating it to literature. And then we've got the rest, which is all about, obviously things that relate directly to the course. Alongside this, having been the captain of the school football, and I'm just taking it from here, team as well as playing for a local team 2 years above my age group has made me hard working and resilient. All of these skills will prove critical during my academic studies, and having managed all of this whilst working. Some could argue maybe there's too much personal experience written here, but we're packing it in quite tightly, and again, this will be subject to version 1, version 2. You probably then end up doing a version 3 if you go away in a couple of days, come back at it, clean it up, and then you can begin looking out to other people with ultimately there being a version 5 finish with all of the changes having been made. All of these skills say the home managers all whilst working since the age of 14 as a paper boy, dishwasher, mechanics assistant, and more. I'm more than prepared for the hard work, and time management needed to score to finish with a first class honours. Thank you for taking the time to read this application. Regards, Shukla. So guys, let's have a look. We've got to a word count of 4,115. That gives us some of the wiggle room that we spoke about, because we're going to delete these sections here, 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 and here. And we'll wrap this video up here, and then in the final video we'll go into finishing this into a final version 3, which will be subject to then external reviews when you go out and start showing it to people that you trust and that you believe in, and that is how we will finish up. So I hope that this has made sense so far. We've got some of the headers that have been answered in the form of some headers that have been answered. We've got to the word count. We took and began with the ideas, and now we're developing what is ultimately going to be a personal statement that would be fit for Oxford or Cambridge.